All right, thanks again to our fans that came out and played a huge part in the game. Sincerely appreciate them supporting our players. Our kids have worked incredibly hard, hung together. As you can see by watching us play, we're not perfect by any means, but it'd be hard to question our kids' grit and toughness. So I'm awfully proud of them. It was fun to watch them celebrate. Find a way to win the game. Questions?
I'll admit to forgetting that was the new overtime format. I'd imagine you guys were a little more in tune with that. How much have you ever practiced that in practice, and how much do you think the team was in tune to that whole situation?
Well, to be honest with you, I'd sort of lost track of what number we were on. You know, I knew we had to go for two, but and then they came over, and obviously they slowed it down. the change in between whatever it went to, the fifth one, to come over and explain it to us and everything. But we have done, 2-point play work, good versus good. Like throughout fall camp, situational work, that sort of stuff. We cover the new rules in fall camp and talk about them. We spent obviously a lot more time on blindside blocks and the two-man wedge on kickoff return than we did on that rule. But, it obviously came into play today. So.
Well, back in April when it was put into place, you said, why even do it? It doesn't come into play. And now that you've been through it, is it a pretty crazy exchange there where you're going back and forth with the 2 points? I mean, is it different from how difficult was that from a coaching perspective when it's so quick?
Well,
like that?
I mean, you're just calling plays from closer place. I mean, I don't know. The rule's fine. I mean, to me, there's a lot more stories about this game than the new rule.
And with Quincy coming in for Ryan, was he banged up, or did you make the switch?
No, Ryan was not hurt, no.
So you felt good about Quincy. How did you think he handled the moment? A lot of big plays that he had to make.
Well, I thought he did a good job. I mean, he ran hard and physical, made some plays in the passing game. When you get down to your third guy, Quincy hasn't taken as many reps throughout the week, throughout the last several weeks, as the top two guys. But we made the decision there pretty quickly to move on and bring Quincy in, and obviously it changed what we looked like a little bit. But he did a great job of taking care of the football and running hard and made a couple plays in the passing game.
Hey, Coach, if you could go back to the first quarter. It seems like about a week ago, but you're down 10-0 and 17-7. These guys could have easily packed it in and folded the tent. A lot's been said about how they've reacted to adversity. Not only did they react to it today, but could you just elaborate on how they answered the bell? Yeah,
awfully proud. I mean, I go back to the meeting we had right after the Duke game and kind of laid it all out for them. And there's a lot of pride in this room with these players. They have a lot of pride in Virginia Tech and pride in each other and their teammates. And I mean, I know we were behind, but I didn't feel bad. Like I felt like we were going to move the ball. We had a possession where we had fumbled. Hendon fumbled the ball, and then we had 2 drops in a possession, maybe in the second quarter. I felt okay about what we were doing. We just need to settle down a little bit. I did sense that I thought we were a little nervous as the game started. Like, I tried to relax the guys a little bit, but it's also a little bit of a good sign that I felt like they were a little nervous. They care a lot. It's a good thing.
Justin, you mentioned Quincy making a couple plays in the passing game, none bigger than the 4th down in overtime to force the 3rd overtime, I think it was. What was the look there? And obviously you executed it perfectly.
Well, part of it is because of his threat of running the football can give you some advantageous looks to throw the ball into. And, I mean, I would say it was a day one installation type play, kind of max protection. And I didn't see where I saw the ball go up. I still haven't seen him catch it. So, I mean, I assume it was a good throw and a good catch and all that kind of stuff. But kind of back to kind of rudimentary football a little bit.
couple things more about Quincy in the fourth quarter. You guys falling behind 31-24, and then he comes out with a quick 22-yard pass to Tavion and a big 53-yard run. I mean, for a dude that had only attempted 5 passes, I guess, coming into today, is pretty big poise for that kind of guy to do that at the end of regulation and what he did in overtime. I mean, was he running with a pretty? I mean, I got to think he's running with a pretty simple set of plays. Is there a pretty simple set of schemes there? Obviously, he's not throwing the ball an awful lot yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it is it has nothing to do with understanding. It's about execution, and we had a third-team quarterback in the game, so I mean, it's going to be scaled down. So I mean, it was definitely scaled down, but in the same respect, like at no point did I feel like we were just going to put him back there and he was going to run it every single snap, and we were going to win the game. We were going to have to. They're too big up front. We were going to have to make a couple plays in the passing game.
And then UNC obviously has share of big plays, but defensively you guys bowed up pretty big at the end of each half, especially the drive, the 3 and out there at the end of the first half to set up your score. And then 2 of the last 3 drives at the end of regulation were 3 and out too. Just kind of speak to the defense and how they kind of stepped up at the right time. Well,
I think it's a microcosm of the whole group. I mean, I'm proud of how we responded. There was times when, we weren't moving the ball very much offensively, and there was times when we weren't exactly stoning them defensively, but we kept battling through, taking adjustments, taking tweaks, continuing to, give great effort and try to battle through the adversity. I mean, we knew it was going to be a hard game. There's going to be some give and take, and I'm just proud of those kids. I mean, again, it kind of goes back to a couple of weeks ago. I mean, we really had to look ourselves in the mirror and talk openly about how we were going to be able to handle tough situations, and we were certainly in our share of them tonight. And if they would have made one more field goal or whatever, I'd still feel the same way about our team. Like if it would have gone the other way in a nip and tuck game, I still would have been up here talking about the how proud I am of our guys and their ability to battle.
Any thought in going for 2 after Hazleton's catch?
No.
I think it was the 5th and 6th overtimes where Ladler came up big on a couple big plays, sniffed out the pitch, and then I think he was the first guy to get to Howell. What does it say about a guy who's sort of been in a little bit of a reserve role to step up in a situation like that?
Well, I mean, speaking specifically of Khalil, he had a great Thursday practice. He plays a huge role for us on special teams. Stepped up and made 2 big plays. Think about Armani Chapman gets thrown into the game and performs at a high level. Think about Quincy Patterson gets thrown into the game, performs at a high level. Austin Cannon played all or most of the football game. That's what football teams do. I mean, that's what they have to do in order to have success. Is you have to have guys that are in those roles that can step up and play to the best of their ability when called upon in order to get, for the team to have a chance to have success. And Khalil certainly did that in overtime.
On that kind of note, Dalton Keene looked like your number 2 running back tonight. I mean, was that just because you guys are down so much health-wise? And what did you think of him stepping in? He had the fumble, but that was the first time he's carried the ball, I think, since high school.
I thought he was great. Obviously we don't like the turnover, but gives us an added dimension back there. He's so smart. He can line up anywhere. Really handles a lot of the physical load. Again, searching for some more size back there is the biggest thing. I'm not unhappy with any of the other guys. I thought Deshawn played great today. He's somebody that's so versatile, and and he was back there more than we planned because of what happened with Quincy. That was something that we had planned on doing, certainly, but it became a large part of what we were doing when Quincy entered the game.
And I don't know, when did Caleb go down, and do you have an update on his, I didn't see what happened. I mean, he just kind of disappeared from the field. Is he okay, and
I'm
what
not
happened?
sure when it was. He's fine. He's on the sidelines.
Last question, David.
What can you tell us about Hooker's injury?
I thought he was going to play the second half. He just couldn't go. So, I mean, it's leg, but like he told me he was going to play. So I don't think it's a long-term issue is what I can tell you. That's what I think right now. So, but he just couldn't. And we're not going to put him out there if he can't.
Right.
He can do the things that he can do, and he couldn't do that, so we didn't put him out there.
Understood.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
You bet.
Overtime games, but this was the first one I think ever with the 2-point conversions. How much different and challenging is that as a coach? I mean, you get one chance from the two. I mean, how that ending sequence from your perspective?
Yeah, that was the first time we've experienced that. But that goes back to our practice. We practiced those situations. I felt our kids really stepped up big and didn't panic. We were prepared for that situation. We practiced those scenarios.
But Devin Hunter has to step in and play for Floyd. Give us your impression of what you saw from him in the first half, and obviously he stayed out for the first series in the second half. What did you think of what you saw from Devin?
Yeah, I thought Devin played really, really well. I told him he was ready for this moment, and he played. Within the defense, he played his position, and it doesn't surprise me how he played because by his body of work, he was ready for this moment and this opportunity.
I'll ask you the same question that Andy asked Coach Fuente, Khalil Ladler,
Yeah.
with both 2-point stops in the overtimes. What were your observations of what he was able to do on those specific plays, the option and then the sack?
Well, those were all plays that we had repped, in various times. But I will say this about Lad's, he has worked his tail off. And I thought tonight's win, it was a true team win. When you start talking about, we had guys, Caleb Farley goes down, Shamari Connors goes down, and a guy like Ladd steps up. You have our quarterbacks. We're down to our third quarterback. You've got Dalton King playing tailback. We've got Deshaun Crawford out. I mean, it's a body of work. And from a coaching standpoint, I don't know if I haven't been more proud of a group than I am of this group tonight and how they played and how they competed for 60-plus minutes. And it's all about their body of work. And that's the one thing I've challenged these guys is it's going to take everybody, but it's going to take everybody practicing like we play because you never know when that opportunity is going to come up. And Ladd took advantage of that opportunity. And I talked to the radio people. I couldn't be more proud of a guy. He's battled some things. He played a lot more last year, and he's got a different role this year. But he stepped up big on our football team, and that's a credit to him and his belief in us, his belief, more importantly, in his players and caring about his teammates and his brothers. And I'm really proud of how he stepped up and played. And thought he was going to get a pick. We might have to work on some ball drills right there a little bit, but great effort right there.
Farley looked like he was having a pretty good game before he came out. How do you feel like he played? Then when Chapman came in, how do you feel like he replaced him?
You guys, you asked me about all these guys. I'm going to the next call. I'm moving forward. I didn't play, but I feel like I played. I don't know how many plays we played defensively, but I made every call. And I'm not looking at. I think some of those guys played really well. I'll tell you more tomorrow. I just know this: we played hard for 60 minutes. Our kids laid it on the line and sold out and gave of themselves. And as a coach, I couldn't be more proud of this group of kids. And we had a lot of guys play well. We gave up a couple big plays, and really that was their offense. They popped a long run. I blitzed into it. I brought 4 from the side. I thought they might throw the football, and we had an end that didn't cross a block. He should have been in that gap, and it pops. They had a nice play in their first touchdown in the second half. They hit on us a double post and just kind of threw it away from Chamari. And then the reverse pass was the one that's probably I was most disappointed in, because we were in man coverage, and the guy that caught the ball just ran a route. He wasn't like he was involved in some, trickery or anything like that. But our kids collectively, it took everybody on that dressed out tonight to win this football game, and it's going to take that as we move forward this rest of the season. But Ladd is just an example of this group of guys and this team, and we buy into that, then we give ourselves a chance.
6 overtime game. They have a chance to win on that field goal, and just the swing of emotions throughout that whole game. How do you describe kind of those swing of emotions in a game like this?
Well, when they scored the touchdown, I told our kids they came off the field when the quarterback scrambled, Hal scrambled, and they threw the touchdown right there in the corner pylon. And I felt our kids come off the field a little dejected, and I told them right away, hey, we're getting ready to score, and we're going to go back in and have to make a stop. And then, but I tell you, we learned a big lesson, I think, particularly in the Duke game. We didn't handle adversity very well. We didn't handle the ebbs and flows of the game, which there's going to be several. There's going to be momentum swings, several in a game, and for you or against you. And I really thought the last few weeks we've handled those situations a lot better. It's something we've really addressed, and our kids have responded. But yeah, I mean, it just makes a statement about their character and their belief in each other, and just how they laid it on the line. Like I said, I'm just so proud of them that way. I mean, they just fought to the bitter end. And like I heard Fu say it, I mean, I'd feel the same way if they'd beat us because of just the body of work our kids put out there tonight. And we're just really proud of them.
Final question, Tim.
Coach, Norell Pollard, it seems like his role is growing more and more. Obviously tonight, making his first career start, and has 2 sacks. Why has he been able to come in as a true freshman and have the level of success that he's had?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, Norell is an extremely talented football player. Now, he's not the biggest guy right now. I think he's in that 265, 268 range. He plays a lot bigger than that. Great hand violence as far as getting his hand placement right. Very twitchy up front, and is a quick learner. And, coming in as a freshman, I mean, he's really kind of exceeded my expectations. I was really, really impressed by him when he first stepped on campus, and when we did kind of our skills and drills and those type of things this summer. I saw a guy that, yeah, this kid has a lot of potential. I knew that as we recruited him. This winter he was down to about 233 at one point in time, and we were concerned that maybe we would have to redshirt him. But then he came in this summer and at around 260 range, and has really worked at it. And all those young kids up front. And I say that with even Deshawn Crawford. We're missing him because he was really playing well. But Norell has played more and more, and has been. And I've said it over again that the best teacher's experience, and he's a quick learner, and he's gaining that experience now. And he's he's hard to handle in there sometimes, particularly when it comes down to if you can get him in a situation where they're going to throw it. He's got some great quickness and things. So, I really like those young guys, and he's a guy that's he's really turning into a leader too. He's a very vocal, very energetic, very passionate guy, and he's going to be a good football player for a number of years here.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank y'all.
Khalil, I'll admit to not knowing that was the new rule in the 5th overtime like that. Did you guys know that on the sideline? What is your mentality with kind of a crazy finish like that?
I heard about it before the season started. I just didn't know when that would happen. So I actually didn't even know what overtime we was in. You know, it was just we just had to make a play. I just knew that.
You made you were there for the initial tackle on both of those overtime plays. Kind of take us through that. What did you see on those two plays?
You know, it was a play we called. I knew I had to have the back. I couldn't let him get outside, and I knew where my help was. So I just tried to force him back inside to all my help. And credit to other guys. I made the play, but it was still a team effort.
Go to the back of the room to Dennis. Khalil, back here. How big was tonight's win as far as the direction of the season? Just to put you guys at 5-2 now, as opposed to less than that.
We just attacked this game. We didn't worry about what would happen next. We just focused on UNC the whole week. We just came prepared to play. No matter what happened during the game, we just had to keep pushing, keep doing our job, and just play every play.
You obviously not starting. What's your mentality like, and how much different is that kind of, coming in those key spots in the second half? How hard is that? Is it present a challenge for you?
I come every day to work prepared like a starter. No matter what the situation is, I'm gonna be ready regardless. Whenever my number's called, I feel like I'm gonna be ready each and every time.
Khalil, how would you describe, one, the atmosphere tonight, two, the frantic nature of overtime, and three, getting to celebrate with the fans on both ends of the stadium after you guys clinched the win?
It kind of felt like UVA, but a little bit more intense. So, the fans were great. Just the energy from the team, we knew we had to win this game, We wanted to win this game. This was like just us pushing through adversity.
We'll go back to Mike.
Guys, go to Quincy in the second half. What's that like when he kind of steps in? He's never kind of really had extended action. What are you guys doing on the sideline to kind of get in there at halftime, with the quarterback situation kind of in flux? What was kind of the mood of the team?
Whoever's out there, we got his back, whether it's Quincy, Hendon, or Willis, we got their back, just like they had to have our back, And we feel like they can make plays regardless of who's in there. So that's how we handle the quarterback situation.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for coming in.
You guys have played in some crazy overtime games here in the past year. Was this more crazy than the UVA game last year? Kind of, what's the emotions there at the end of this one?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was just so many overtimes. I mean, five, six? Six. But it was definitely up there with Pitt 2 years ago, I want to say, and UVA last year.
Deshawn, you didn't quite get to 100 tonight, but you'd had 102 of the previous 3 games. Seem to be getting your sea legs, and the running game seems to be improving. What has been the biggest part of that?
I would say the biggest part of it is the O-line. I mean, they've just been improving a lot over the weeks. In practice we emphasize running the ball a lot, and just in order to be a good football team, you have to be able to run the ball, man.
And then, were you aware of the new overtime? You said you lost track of how many overtimes there were. Did you know that after a certain number of overtimes, it became just 2-point conversions?
Well, yeah, when he said it, when I heard the ref say it on the field, but before then, I had no idea.
We forgot too. Don't feel.
How much work do you guys put in practice with the 2-point conversions? I mean, is that something you do every week and focus on it, or is it something you do in fall camp for a stretch? I mean, how kind of take us into how much effort reps do you put into that kind of on a weekly basis?
Well, yeah, definitely. It goes back to spring ball, really. Starts in spring ball, and then it trickles over to fall camp, and then practice right now. Every week, we pretty much go over every situation.
What was Quincy like when he got in the game? Just demeanor in the huddle, how he handled things?
Poised, confident. And then, we all had his back. We let him know, we believe in you, bro. Just go out there and do what you do in practice. And the rest of it will take care of itself.
Is he like that in practice? Do you see that every day?
Yeah.
What's going through your mind when that field goal's in the air, when they have the chance to win it right there in third overtime?
I mean, I just believed we were going to win the game, no matter what happened. They had a little bit of momentum. They scored or they got a field goal or whatever. I just tried to, stay calm and poised and be there for my teammates. I never doubted if we were going to win the game.
Dalton Keene, I don't think had played running back since high school. I mean, obviously fumbled, but outside of that, I mean, what's it like a guy stepping up and kind of stepping in those different situations? I mean, what'd you see from him, and how much did that kind of help you kind of split the load up a little bit?
I thought Dalton Keene did a good job. They called his number, whether it's at tight end or tailback. I mean, I'm proud of him. He went out there and ran the ball well, and he was productive, and he did what the coaches asked him to do.
Thank you.
Back healthy and beating North Carolina must be a special one for you. I mean, how much did this one mean and the way it unfolded? Just from you as a North Carolina native, what does this one mean?
It was definitely one for the ages. It's probably the longest game I've ever played in my life, like basketball or football. Like, I've never been a part of something like that, and then I'm just saying the whole time, just look at Lane Stadium. Like, it feels good to have the fans just stay for a full game. Like that. There was no better feeling than that. And then beating North Carolina means a lot to me because if I lose to them, it's like, that hurts. So this game was personal for me, and I'm really glad we pulled out a W.
Trey, we've asked everybody that's come in here before the referees announced out there. Did you know? You didn't know that?
No, I had no idea. And I'm confused, like, while I'm running on the field, like, so why is the ball on the 3-yard line? Like, what are we doing? And, we run one play, we don't get it. I'm still on the field. Like, if you go back and look, I'm still on the field, confused. Like, what are we doing? So no, I had no idea what the 2-point, like the new overtime rule, none of that. I didn't even know what overtime it was.
How much of a mental shift do you have to make then? Where it's like one play and then you're down to the other end of one.
At that point, it was just like life or death. Like, it's really sudden death situation. Like, you either score, and if the other team scores next, they win. Like, if they don't score and you score, you win. So we all bought in, and we all knew we were going to come out with a W.
You had the rare opportunity of playing with 3 different quarterbacks in a game. Does that pose a challenge for you, having to adjust to 3 different styles of play?
No. Since spring ball and fall camp, we've rotated with the quarterbacks all throughout every practice. So it was nothing new to me. I mean, I just wanted them to be comfortable with us so they could get the ball in the air and let us handle it. So there was nothing different that I haven't seen before.
Trey, there are a million excuses out there just laying there for you guys to grab onto. I mean, you're on your 3rd-string quarterback. You got people in the secondary coming in. You got a tight end playing running back. I mean, for you guys to actually pull this off and not just play close but actually pull it out and win, how gratifying is that, and what does it say to you about what this team is made of, I suppose?
It just feels good, like just knowing that all my brothers, we all have heart. Like, that's something that you can't coach. So we all dug in, we all wanted to win, and you see what the outcome was. We're all in the locker room for like 10 minutes just jumping around, listening to music, throwing water bottles in the air and everything. So it's just a good feeling to just dig in and just grit it out with your brothers, like, for a full game. So,
what can you say about the way Quincy kind of controlled the offense there and some clutch situations there at the end of the game?
That was big time. It was I had confidence in him. He came out really poised, like he was ready to play, and no matter what happened, he kept the same facial expression, same mood, like same tone. He wasn't nervous, wasn't impatient about anything. He was patient, and very last play, he won the game, didn't he? So yeah, so that's what I was happy about that.
I don't know how many questions we've asked you, but we haven't asked you about your biggest play of the game. Describe the 55-yard touchdown. What was the call and the route?
I'm not gonna tell you the call because I don't know where the video is gonna go, but I just ended up wide open on a busted coverage by the safety. Damon took an inside release on the corner, so he went with him, and the safety ran right into him. So I ended up wide open, and Hendon knew where to put the ball, so ended up as a touchdown. We repped it all week, and we were ready for it.
This wide receivers core had big expectations kind of coming into the season. Feels like injuries have kind of prevented you from kind of getting going. Damon made some big catches. You obviously had a touchdown. Do you feel like you can finally start now, trying to get where you thought you could be?
It's just finally like Coach told us before the game. Coach Jafar, he told us before the game. He was just like, I don't know if you guys realize, but this is the first game that we're all just healthy. Like we're all here, ready to go. So, like, show the world what we can do. So we all took that and we showed the world what we could do. Won the game. We got a W. It doesn't matter what we did. It's a unit. Like, as long as the whole team got a W, that's all that matters.
Thank you, Trey.
Thank you.
How have you been able to come in as a true freshman at a position where you don't see a lot of true freshmen have early success and have games like a 2-sack game tonight and kind of build toward this as well?
I just have a lot of confidence in myself and just work hard every day. And just, I came in, a lot of people tell me I'm a red shirt, and they don't even know, like, me as a person, and that just fueled the fire. So I just came in, worked hard, and I don't even think about that I'm a freshman. That's what other people think about. I just think about going out there and executing and doing my job.
Norell, you guys get to overtime, and the ball's at the 25, but you still have to defend a whole drive. Then you get to the 5th and 6th overtimes, it's just one play. What is the mentality like to have to get up for that one play that's so significant?
We knew it was gonna be a dogfight coming in. It's just grit. That's the way we live by. That's what we go by, having grit and coming out. Coach Fu said it was gonna be a dogfight coming in. And that's what we prepare for every practice, every day. Fall count, we was put in tough situations. So when it pops up in the game, we ready.
So are you dancing to Enter Sandman afterwards? Are those original dance moves that you have to that, or is that something you learned somewhere?
No, I just put it together. That's how I be feeling. I have to move.
Are you on the field goal block team?
Yes.
What are you thinking those 2 times when Carolina has a chance to kick it there in overtime?
All or none. It's just we had to make it happen somehow, some way. And we made it happen.
This was probably the most snaps you've played all season. In the second half, particular, did you feel like you got stronger as the game went on? I mean, how do you feel? I mean, playing kind of your most snaps, how do you feel? Kind of, this was a really long game too. How do you feel kind of late in that game?
Like I said, Coach said we're gonna have to fight it out, and me as a person, I've been in tough situations all my life, so I love games like that because that brings out who wants it more, like who's going to actually go get it, who that dog, and I felt like that's what we had.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
We'll start with Mike.
At halftime, obviously, quarterback situation is up in the air. What are they telling you? I mean, Hendon might play. Willis end up starting the second half. What's kind of the back and forth like at halftime?
Well, one of the GAs came up to me and told me that I had been preparing all week, like that I was going to play, so just to stay ready if anything happened. And it just so happened that I did play, and, what happened. So.
Raise your hands to each of the microphones. We'll go to David.
so many big plays to ask you about, but I'll start with the fourth down pass to Hazleton for the touchdown in overtime. What are you looking at there, and what was your reaction when it hit?
Well, I just seen the field safety. He wasn't getting over top to really stop Dame from catching the ball. And then I seen Dame. He had a great release. Dame is Dame, one of the best receivers in the country. And I really just put the ball up for him, and he caught it, and that was really it. So.
Well, then I'll ask you about the game-winning play. That looked pretty basic, just
Yeah.
run off the left side. I mean, what was the play, and when you get into the end zone, what's the feeling when you actually ended this marathon of a game?
Well, it was really just an outside zone play, quarterback keep all the way, and I just I seen the hole, cut it up. Couldn't really get any easier, and then I really don't know how I felt. I just kind of, it was like an out-of-body experience. I just kind of started jumping around. Then I started to calm down, got a little emotional, and I was like, that was it. But it's cool.
Quincy, can you compare this experience today to anything you've experienced in the past, sports-wise?
I mean, UVA last year, even though I didn't play, that was pretty hype. But this is a different level. But that's probably the best comparison I could have to that.
I mean, when you first trot out there, how do you feel? I mean, you're suddenly the guy, and you suddenly have to make big plays in a crucial game. What was your mentality like? I mean, your teammates say you were very poised, but how did you feel inside?
Oh, well, in the past, when I got in, it was really just to run the ball. And I know that role has switched today, so my mentality was kind of be ready to throw the ball. Running the ball, that kind of comes natural, so I was just be ready to throw the ball, execute, make plays that need to be made. And, when plays need to be made, I tried my best to make them. Some were made, some weren't, but it was definitely a good day overall.
Say running the ball comes naturally to you. Describe the 53-yard touchdown run, which came, by the way, after a really good throw for 22 yards.
Well, it was another outside zone play, the same play, just the opposite way. And once again, seeing the hole, cut it up. It was two guys converging. Didn't think I was going to make it through. Somehow, kicked in another gear. They missed, and then from there, it was just clear. I was trying not to slow down just because I knew it was a touchdown at that point, and it was a really cool experience. And that was my first touchdown. So.
You said you prepare to be the starter every week, which if you're the backup, I could imagine that's a little bit easier to do than if you're the third string guy. How do you do that as the third string guy and get that zoned in, even in practice?
But really, you kind of just have to stay honed in on who you are as a person. It's really easy, especially after Hendon got the job and he played a great game against Miami. It's really easy to get down on yourself and be your shot's never gonna come or whatever. But I kind of just have to stay in that zone of preparing I was a starter. And today was that day that I got to play quarterback, so that was pretty cool.
Going back to that 4th and 2 pass, game on the line right there, and you make the throw. It could have been very easy for you guys just to call a running play, but the trust that the coaching staff had in you, and then what's the relief like after that when you see that completion, the game's still going then?
Well, when they called the play, I knew it was a touchdown at that point. It's something that we practice all the time, something that the coaches see and that they knew that they were comfortable calling that. And I remember throwing it, I kind of just looked at our signal guy, and I just stared at him for 5 seconds, and then I walked off eventually. But I was kind of just trying to stay calm because it's really easy to get real jumpy in a moment. But I knew that the game wasn't over, so kind of tried to stay calm and get on to the next series.
How much work do you get in 2-point conversion work during the week as a third stringer? I mean, is that something you are still repping kind of during the week? And do you just approach it as kind of just a short run yardage situation, or is it different kind of with the 2 points on the line?
Well, I haven't gotten any since fall camp, but watching guys like Hendon and Ryan, it's really easy to get those mental pictures of what it's like to do things right. And I think the coaches know that I watch, I value what they do as far as the other 2 quarterbacks, and they were just comfortable with me being in that situation, and it turned out well for us.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate
you coming in.